There is a place in the south of Europe. A wild and remote land. Home of wonderful animals. The Iberian Peninsula. A land where the European and the African worlds come together, creating a wonderful place. Living here, one needs to be brave. This is the story of the animals that fight to survive in the wild heart of Spain. Lying to the north of Africa and southwest of Europe, and bathed by the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, the Iberian Peninsula is the junction between both continents. And it's precisely this location that makes it such a remarkable place. About 300 million years ago, extraordinary geological forces caused the rise of mountains from the bottom of the sea, creating the Iberian Massif that today constitutes the Great Central Plateau. 5 large mountain ranges flank and cross the Iberian Plateau, forming the wild heart of Spain. The country with the greatest biodiversity in Europe. The Central System, a mountain range 700 kilometers long that crosses the peninsula from east to west, dividing it into 2 large sub-plateaus. A world of rock. A desolate landscape dominated by wind and ice that emerged 290 million years ago. At over 2,000 meters, this Iberian ibex thrives in a harsh and hostile environment. Adapted to live between the rocks, they move agilely in these places and are the most resistant animals of those that live in these mountains. It is November, and with the sprouting of autumn pastures, the Iberian ibex breeding season begins. The fresh and humid wind disperses the smell of the female's pheromones. And the males continuously sniff the wind, looking for a mate. The matriarchal group is in a state of agitation due to the ardent males. They prudently check with their tongue the female's heat status, but they do not try to force them to consent. In the mating season, a rigid hierarchy rules the males. The most powerful ones try to prevent the young and weakest males from gaining access to the females. A new candidate, strong and determined. The atmosphere becomes tense. A long and violent combat ensues that could last up to 2 days. The old dominant male knows that it is a duel to the death. But such a challenge can't be tolerated. He will not allow his harem of females to be snatched from him. They brutally charge, crushing their powerful skulls with enough force to kill a man. An intelligent and seasoned male knows that gaining height will give him an advantage in battle. And only the strongest will get to copulate with the females. A strong blow from the dominant male decides the fight. For another year, the last perhaps, he will remain the leader, and the next generation will inherit his powerful genetics. By mid-February, a thick blanket of snow covers the Pyrenees. With peaks of more than 3,000 meters, these are young mountains that are still rising. A rocky bastion that separates the characteristic life forms of the Iberian Peninsula from those of the European continent. In the most remote forests of these slopes lives an animal that has populated these places since the Ice Age. The 𝗥𝗲𝗃 are exposed to the rigors of winter in the Pyrenean forests, but their thick plumage affords them such extraordinary insulation that the amount of energy they need to conserve heat is minimal, and almost any plant serves as food. Soon the winter will end, and the females will head to the 𝗥𝗲𝗃. Delimited areas in the clearings of the forest that the males occupy year after year to sing, display themselves, and defend their territories, all within a wider common 𝗥𝗃. It's an ancient song, liquid and complex. The great 𝗥𝗲𝗃 of the forest displays all its vital force. In the 𝗥𝗃s, if necessary, they will fight for the females. The youngest and weakest males, not ready to fight yet, watch carefully. This 𝗥𝗲𝗃 is in the prime of life and challenges any contestant intent on invading its small spot in the 𝗥𝗃. But for now, no rival is at his level. At the end of February, a legendary bird leaves its winter quarters in southwestern Spain and begins the journey back to the swamps and bogs of northern Europe to raise its chicks there. During their long migration of more than 4,000 kilometers, European cranes can fly at heights of 9,000 meters, crossing mountain systems with peaks over 3,500 meters, traveling through Europe in a fascinating journey. Such a journey involves a huge expenditure of energy, and they must stop to rest and feed. Seven kilometers long and 2 kilometers wide, 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁𝗀 is the largest salt lagoon in Europe. And its strategic location in the northwest of the peninsula makes it the perfect place for them to recover their strength. Year after year, more than 60,000 cranes gather here. These birds have existed for 55 million years, and the spectacle of their migration has been admired and venerated by many cultures since ancient times. They were depicted in cave paintings, and it is believed that humans imitated their hops and nuptial dances in Japan before 7000 BC. During this stop, they feed as much as they can to accumulate the necessary energy before crossing the Pyrenees to continue their journey to the Nordic lands. They will stay here for a few weeks, and during this time the cranes will be restless. A kind of pre-migratory excitement alters the spirits and the temperament. They challenge each other, shout and peck. All of this with a good amount of overacting, even for such exhibitionist birds. And also some jumps and rudiments of bridal dances that they will perform when they reach their destination after crossing all of Europe. In the extensive territories of the central system, a great predator shows as no other the ability to adapt and survive in the mountains. No other species has successfully colonized almost all the mountains of the northern hemisphere. The golden eagle. This female, who has been breeding here for more than 15 years, returns with her offspring. In the early part of April, this eagle's couple breeds their single chick in a huge nest of more than 2 meters in diameter on a rocky outcrop at 1,800 meters altitude. Golden eagles can live up to 40 years, and when they mate, they do it for life. The male signals the female that she can go hunting. He will protect the chick against any enemy that approaches the nest. She knows every corner of her vast territory and flies towards the valleys and the mountain slopes. She knows where it is easiest to locate with her powerful eyesight her favorite prey at this time of year: rabbits. The effort taken to hunt a rabbit and bring it to the nest is perfectly balanced with the energy that it supplies. but they are not easy to surprise. The eagle flies high into the sky. It knows that the higher it goes, the less chances to be seen. When it chooses its prey, its weight of 5 kilos and wingspan of more than 2 meters descend at 240 kilometers per hour. Its coordination of movements is perfect, and its wind control amazing. It needs maximum precision to bring the attack to a successful conclusion, without being injured in the attempt. The chick will be fed daily for 3 months in the nest, and will stay with its parents learning hunting techniques for at least 6 months before becoming independent and conquering new territories. With luck, when he reaches 5 years old, he will form his own family. The north of the peninsula is formed by large mountain ranges, and old forests grow up on its slopes. Here we find some of the best preserved forests in southern Europe. No natural environment offers as many possibilities to its inhabitants as the deciduous forest. In May, trees like oak, ash, beech, and chestnut barely let the sunlight pass. Here lives the largest and most elusive forest bird of the Iberian Peninsula. The black stork. This female hides her treasure in the crown of a 100-year-old oak. 4 young storks, already quite a size. After many hours of hunting, her mate returns to the nest and brings food. Fish, frogs, tritons, and water rats. Everything it could hunt in the lagoons and meadows of the lowlands. It transports the food in its stomach and regurgitates it all at the same time in the center of the nest. This way, the strongest chicks cannot impose themselves on the weakest, and all are fed equally. The young storks train in the nest and strengthen their wings. They still do not know how to fly, but in a few months, they will have to face a long trip to Africa, where they will spend the winter. In the south of the peninsula, there is another type of forest, the Mediterranean forest. These large areas covered with home oaks, shrubs, and rocks create a fertile ecosystem full of life. Here, lives one of the scarcest felines in the world. The Iberian lynx. The lynx is a perfect synthesis of the attributes that a medium-sized predator needs to thrive in the Mediterranean forest. It represents the essence of the wild in Iberian nature. These cats are designed to hunt rabbits alone. In 1960, myxomatosis decimated the population of rabbits, and this, together with the persecution by man, pushed the Iberian lynx to the brink of extinction. Today, thanks to the conservation efforts and the increase in rabbit population, this beautiful creature is slowly recovering. It is May, and this female is heading to a remote valley. Two Iberian lynx cubs. The female meows to announce her arrival to her young, only 1 month old, who impatiently await her. This lynx species is unique in the world and only exists here in the scrublands of the south of the Iberian Peninsula. She will breastfeed and comfort them, but not for long. Soon she will have to leave her cubs again to go hunting, feed herself, and continue to produce milk to breastfeed them. Because in a few hours, the night will come with its dangers. And she must return as soon as possible to protect them. These pups will remain within their mother's territory for at least 18 months until they are dispersed in search of new places to settle and lead a life of a lone hunter. They are the hope of the species. The night falls in the Iberian forests. A weasel comes out of its den under a fallen log. This mammal is the smallest carnivore on the planet, and tonight it has gone hunting in search of mice hidden in the underbrush. Its small size, 15 centimeters long and weighing 60 grams, makes it an easy prey. So it has to be careful, as other nocturnal hunters have also gone out in search of food. A tawny owl. This medium-sized owl is a lethal hunter, able to see clearly even in the pitch black, and its ear captures the faintest sounds made by its prey, as it moves through the leaf litter. A rat. This time the weasel has been lucky. Only when the danger has passed, she can continue her tireless search for the mice that abound in the forest. But these are very fast and slip easily away. This mouse seeks refuge in the fallen branch of cork oak and can smell the danger. But the weasel is designed to enter the hollows and burrows that rodents use. And it is infallible. Tonight, she has been successful, but in a short time she will have to go hunting again. In the mountains of the wild heart of Spain, some of the largest rivers of the peninsula are born. Some of them are over 700 kilometers in length. The rivers are the veins of the earth. They carry water and life where it is naturally needed. It creates different ecosystems and sculpts the landscape. In healthy rivers, there is an abundance of fish. And where there are fish, it is very likely that a mammal perfectly adapted to aquatic life appears. This young female otter has grown up in this part of the river and knows which are the best pools to catch trout. Few mammals have been able to reconquer the aquatic world. This evolution seems to produce a great psychological development, and thus the otter is endowed with proverbial intelligence and memory. Their underwater vision is excellent, and they are equipped with ingenious eye mechanisms to adapt to the refraction of light in the water, and thus fish effectively. The otter is happy in the watercourses. She enjoys hunts, and very often she plays. During their fishing trips, otters are able to dive for 7 minutes and, if needed, dive up to 10 meters deep. Its fusiform and compact body and its thick waterproof coat, due to a special fat that covers it, allows it to cope with currents and low temperatures, no matter how severe they may be. The hunt of the oldest or sick fish helps to maintain the health and proper age structure of the different species, and thus the river-life balance. As the unevenness of the ground softens, the water slows down, and a large amount of sediment and salts are concentrated in the riverbed. Here there is hardly any current. There are many plants and phytoplankton. and thousands of fry from different fish species gather in these pools to feed and take refuge from predators. But the danger that lurks on them is not in the water, but just above the surface. A female kingfisher has come to this part of the river to catch small fish. It throws itself from its watchtower, reaching 40 km/h speed. She is able to catch a fish with total precision over half a meter deep and return to her watchtower in just 2 seconds. Then she eats her prey head first, following the angle of the scales so as not to choke. And she rarely fails. The kingfishers are effective in 90% of their hunting attempts. Although sometimes she can lose the fish when turning it to swallow. European kingfishers are dazzling with their metallic blue color. The truth is that their feathers are brown, but they have microscopic structures that act like a prism, dispersing the light and creating the brilliant blue that characterizes them. Some time ago, the kingfisher's feathers reached a similar value to gems, silk, and spices. Today it is no longer hunted for its feathers, but the increasing contamination of the rivers kills the fish, and the kingfisher depends on them to survive. In the lower course of the river, where the water flows slowly, there is a world full of microscopic life. Here lives a creature that could keep inside the key to immortality. The freshwater hydra. In 1736, the Swiss naturalist 𝗹𝗶𝗶 found a small organism in a sample of water coming from a pond. Studying this tiny being that he named Hydra in honor of the Greek myth, he observed that after being cut in two, not only did it not die, but from a single hydra, up to 50 copies could be obtained. Centuries later, it was discovered that the hydras did not age, so these creatures of just 2 millimeters are eternally young and potentially immortal. Since then, science has tried to understand the origin of this mystery that defies the laws of biology. Today, we know that their power is in their stem cells. Thanks to them, they regenerate and reproduce without sex, and can even create clones of themselves. But how they do it is still a mystery. Perhaps in the future, their secrets could allow us to overcome time. At the southern end of the Iberian Peninsula Wild Heart, a few kilometers from the coast, the Mediterranean climate mixes with the warm African one. It is July, and in this landscape of pines and bushes heated by the sun, insects thrive. Especially the grasshoppers. The Iberian shrub, bathed by the humidity of the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, creates the perfect conditions for a very particular reptile adapted to live in the trees. common chameleon. The chameleons are almost deaf, but they have very sharp eyesight and independent eyes to observe everything that happens around them and locate their food, which is not always easy to capture. Once the prey is located, it focuses both eyes on it, perceiving it now with binocular vision. Its brain superimposes the images as one, allowing it to calculate the exact distance and project its sticky tongue as a precise dart. The first chameleon fossils in the peninsula are dated from the Bronze Age, so it is believed that it is a species introduced by humans. But in any case, it has lived here for thousands of years. Its ability to change color helps it to camouflage itself among the foliage and stalk its prey without being seen. But their prey also have resources to escape. Throughout the summer, this chameleon will hunt thousands of insects in the bush. Although at this time of year he has a predilection for grasshoppers that, rich in fats and proteins, will provide him with all the necessary reserves to face the fall. So its presence is very important for the health of these places. The red kites, always flying in search of food, soon discover a carcass. Kites, ravens, and magpies fly and jump around the dead animal. This way they attract the attention of the vultures, who have the strength to tear the deer's skin and access the flesh. With their powerful sight, the vultures detect the crows from tens of kilometers away and set off. They can detect the infrasound produced by the hot air when ascending. They look for the thermal currents to gain height, sometimes up to 6,000 meters, and so descend to the deer, spending as little energy as possible. The bustle also attracts the attention of other diners. The red foxes take advantage of any opportunity that comes their way, but it must hurry up, because soon the carcass of the deer will be covered with vultures and he will no longer be able to eat. Foxes do not like to share the food. For the fox, it's too late already. The griffon vultures have arrived, and it will not be easy to find a space to reach the carrion. The fox tries to provoke a stampede to get the meat, but there are too many vultures, and his attempt is in vain. Vultures were very important animals in the Celto-Iberian culture. The corpses of the warriors killed in battle were offered to the scavengers to ensure the ascension of their souls to heaven with the gods. At the end of November, a thin layer of snow covers the central system summits. A couple of wolves go towards the mountain looking for food. They are the only survivors of an old pack, and thanks to their experience, they have managed to escape from human persecution. Together, they crossed the valleys as their ancestors and the Paleolithic men did thousands of years ago. Always on the move and closely following their prey, the wolves mark and recognize each other through a complex language of gestures and grunts. Wolves are very social, and their strength resides in the pack, but in Spain it is not common to see very large groups. The wind carries messages to the wolves. When the first snow falls on the summits, the roe deer, which have been feeding during the summer and the autumn on the fresh mountain pastures, descend towards the valleys and forests in search of refuge. But the presence of the wolves makes these ungulates nervous, and they decide to ascend the mountain again to surround it and confuse the canids. Perhaps in ancient times, somehow, our ancestors learned to hunt in cooperation with wolves, using their intelligence and their resilience. And possibly, in this way together they survived the harsh rigors of winter in these mountains during the Quaternary. And maybe domestic dogs came from that old relationship which changed the course of humanity. Wolves, however, are still persecuted, and their presence is accepted with difficulty by the people of the countryside. The fear of the wolf is deeply rooted within them. However, it is beginning to be shown that these predators are more important than previously thought. The reality is their presence is fundamental for the health of livestock and the interests of man. If the livestock was not so accessible, the wolves would have no choice but to play the role for which they were born, hunting wild ungulates old or sick, thus reducing the transmission of diseases and preventing the contamination of pastures and watercourses. Wolves are beneficial and essential for the balance of the ecosystem. They were, and always will be, our allies. November is coming to its end, and soon all animals will have to face the great challenge again. Winter is here. When the snow returns to the peninsula, it seems that nature goes back in time. Once again, winter puts life to the test. Wind and heat, humidity and cold. Life and death have taken place over a year. It is the harmony of Iberian nature itself. The wild heart of Spain hosts the greatest biodiversity in Europe. A privileged place where animals, forests, and mountains are still present like thousands of years ago.